Hey folks, so this is day 2. Similar to day 1 in terms of what I can do. You may notice if you saw the previous video, I'm not using my cane right now. Instead, I'm using the crutches because I do want to be used to using both. They serve kind of different purposes. Ultimately, I'm going to kind of graduate from these to the cane, but to where I don't need the additional support. The knee is still unstable. It is still weak. This allows me to dose out how much weight bearing I'm requiring of the surgical knee. So I feel like that maybe, it's just easier to manage when I'm using the crutches. Anyway, and I updated on this a little bit last night. There is a way I've learned to move. So there's this normal thing where they say, you just kind of pitch and swing. And I know you can't see, but instead of just planting them both, swinging my good foot forward, landing on that one, and keeping the other one all the way up in the air, and I come forward and do it again, what I've started doing is sort of walking, and I do put some weight on both legs. So I'll step with my left foot, and then I'll come up with the left crutch. So some of the weight's, going down on that. And then I step with my right, crutch right, left step, crutch left, right step, crutch right. So I can kind of approximate walking and, I feel like I'm getting somewhere with it. Just slowly exposing the knee. The pain is about the same, maybe even a little worse, but that's to be expected, I think, given that that first day I was completely knocked out with not completely knocked out, but had the nerve block that did a really good job of taking the edge off, and after a couple of days that wears off. So I'm feeling most of the normal kind of pain from the surgery now, aside from whatever residual effects I have from the narcotics I took last night. I haven't taken any drugs yet today, not even the naproxen, the NSAID that they gave me. So, with that said, the pain is tolerable. Getting up and down off a toilet is tricky. Tomorrow is going to be interesting because I'm going to take the dressing off, not the whole dressing, but I'm going to unwrap it and check it out. They say after 3 days I can do that. Bathing is interesting too. You kind of have to give yourself a sponge bath, really, and avoid the surgical site. So I'm still going to have to avoid scrubbing that or getting it really soaked, but I can at least open it up and clean around it, check it out. So I'll be updating on that. People who are squeamish, I don't know what the incision site's going to look like, what the surgical site's going to look like, but just be aware. I will be posting an update with that and probably showing it on one of these videos. Anyway, there's an update for you, and I'm working on walking backwards as well, and I'm getting there. Big thing I'm trying to pay attention to is if I turn, I do completely lift up my surgical leg, pivot, then I kind of pivot on the heel of my good leg, my good foot, and then, I'm in place. Same thing, back the other way. So I might show a follow-up with kind of what my feet look like as I'm doing that, or what my legs look like. Anyway, I'm gonna end this here. I'm gonna tack on an update with what's going on with my, with the knee, in terms of how much movement I get at the ankle and what I'm doing when I'm lying down. I already recorded that, so I'm gonna tack that on here, edit them together with my expert editing skills. So anybody who's interested, stick around and you'll get some of that, okay? So thanks for watching, and I will hobble over here and in this video, this portion, I'll give you guys another update. So for anybody who's wondering, yes, I'm sleeping with this brace on. I'm not even loosening it right now. I'm just leaving it in the position it was put in when I was initially discharged, or before I was discharged, but when I came out from the surgery. So I've got a pretty thick wrap here on my knee. In terms of exercises, I'm not doing a whole lot right now. I'm doing, little these, they sometimes call them ankle pumps, but just plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. And I can pull it all the way up here. This angle isn't good, but I'm pulling my foot back towards my shin. Depending on the position my hips are in, it actually kind of feels good. And what I mean by that is when I sit up, somehow it puts a little tension, I guess you could say, on my hamstrings, which does something to the knee that makes this feel better. If I do this when I'm lying flat on my back, it's more likely to cause a little bit of knee pain for whatever reason. Now, one of the things to consider is that the graft I had was a patellar tendon graft. So they took a chunk of the patellar tendon or ligament out and used that to reconstruct the ACL. Well, depending, and I haven't seen the incision, I haven't unwrapped this yet, but depending on how much of that they took, it makes sense that there would be pain at the insertion on the tibia. Now, when I do that dorsiflexion thing, well, what's a major dorsiflexor of the ankle? Well, you have your tibialis anterior or anterior tib, which runs pretty far up the shin, pretty far up the front of your tibia. So if that muscle is contracting and yanking on tissue that's adjacent to the donor site, I guess you would call it, then yeah, it makes sense that it would hurt. Anyway, this is about the only exercise I'm doing, little ankle pump kind of things. I'm not doing any quad sets yet because it really hurts, even with painkillers. And I don't want to go contracting too hard, pulling on a tendon or on a ligament that has just been stitched back together with like probably its middle third removed. Now, apparently, I can remove these straps, and you can see kind of under my shorts here, I have another strap. So I've got 4. Got ankle, then tibia below the knee, above the knee, and then up here on the thigh. And kind of between these 2 straps is where they put the nerve block, where they did the injection, which has now pretty much worn off. So for a while, if I poked my foot or my ankle, it would feel very numb. Now it feels pretty much normal. I'm starting to get a little itching around here. And I don't know exactly how thick this is, but I know it's pretty thick. Probably tomorrow I'm going to remove the wrap and check it all out. They say after 3 days I can do that. Well, tomorrow about midday will make 3 days. I think the tricky part will be putting the, getting the wrap back on. So there you go. Yeah, there we are. Getting into a position for this thing to prop it up at night was kind of tricky. It was very painful for a while until my narcotic pain med kicked in. I'm taking them only in one pill at a time. I can do up to 2 at a time for up to 8 a day. I'm doing 2 or 3 a day typically, just trying not to overdo it on those. But there we are. All right. So that's the update for now. As I do more exercises and I start moving it more, I'll update with those.